Baseball America released their new top 100 prospects list on Wednesday, and 5 Yankees made the cut. Let's run through them real quick. Anthony Volpe at number 7, Oswald Peraza at number 62, Jason Dominguez at number 67, Everson Pereira at number 78, and Austin Wells at number 94. How content would you say that you are with the current state of the Yankees farm system? Because I'm gonna say, me personally, I'm enamored. Bro, I'm using some really good words today.
Yeah,
I'm
words I
enamored
couldn't even dream of, but yeah.
enamored by the Yankees farm system. Just because I feel like a couple years ago when we kind of looked at it, there wasn't really any pieces that stuck out in terms of, wow, I'm really excited for the future of this player. And why, you
Glaber,
have
though, I
one?
mean, Glaber at the
Well, no, no,
time
no, no,
was.
no. I'm thinking like 2019, 2020.
Oh, okay, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
that's what I mean when I say basically like the post Glaber era in terms
Right,
of
right.
Yankees
He was our
prospects.
last big one until
Yeah,
Volpe.
yeah. And that's why I'm kind of looking at it now. And I see a few guys where I think that they can make serious impacts on the Yankees major league roster. And it's not even like years away from
No.
being possible. It's like you look at guys like Volpe and Peraza, they're ready to go. I don't know much about
So,
Pereira, to be honest
dude,
with you.
here's the thing. What's interesting about this list, and this is pretty much your point, which I'm just going to enforce. Every guy on this list could potentially crack the big leagues this year. I mean, the obvious ones in, Volpe, Jason could as well. Peraza obviously already
You
has.
really think there's a chance Jason cracks the big leagues this year?
Maybe the Yankees situation doesn't allow that to be the case because if they want to go out and get somebody at the deadline to play the outfield, but like in terms of being capable, like he's already in AAA this year. So I mean, like if he conquers
Is
that,
he?
you could, I believe so, because what was he
Is that
finished double?
official?
He finished double A last year, and then maybe he'll start there. But pretty much, if Jason succeeds this year in the minor leagues, he is definitely capable of playing at the big league level in 2023, whether that be for like the Yankees or like a different team. But you also have Everson Pereira, dude. He had an 845 OPS in 113 double A games. Austin Wells, bro, at 94 is like sneaky as hell. Do you
Sure.
realize how good
Yeah.
Austin Wells has been, dude, over the last, or since he
No,
got
he's a
drafted,
dog.
really?
I love
Dude,
Austin Wells.
20 homers, had an 897 OPS in 92 minor league games this year. He's probably going to start out at AAA. So it's not like we're like, our guys are like single A at the single A level, like far away. No, we have a prospect system that is kind of budding right now, and it's pretty awesome. And I look back at 2018, because that's the year where you think like, all right, the prime peak of the baby bombers having like this crazy farm system was probably before the 2018 season when you had, Glaber leading the pack. So you had Glaber at number 3. You had Clint Frazier at number 24. Blake Rutherford at 37. Remember him? The Yankees 2016
Yeah.
first-round draft pick. They traded him for in the
Yeah,
Todd
the
Frazier deal.
Robertson deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge at 46. Jorge Mateo at 47. James Caprillion at 58, and Justice Sheffield at 79. So I started to think, like, if I were to compare prospects, like who our top guys were then compared to now, I'd say I'm more excited about Volpe than I am Glaber. I am more excited about Jason than I am Clint, although the prospect rankings are pretty different, which I am kind of surprised how much Jason has fallen, by the way. 60 is
Yeah.
still really good, but he was up as high as like 32 like a year ago. And he had like an OPS over 800 in the minor leagues last year. Like
No,
he's
I know, but
progressing very well.
you can't really blame them for kind of like being a little bit down on him, considering the fact, I mean, I know you can't really take this into account. He didn't
Prospect
really look
fatigue.
great. And yeah, I mean, that also, I mean, I feel like that he's a little gassed up, but he also didn't look great in the fall league this past year. And then also like in the 5 games in Somerset, I mean, he didn't really do too
Yeah,
well
I mean,
either. So it's
that's
like, no, but you can't really compare him to a guy like Volpe at this point, where it just seems like I don't know, he just seems to be
I'm not asking for that. I'm just
progressing
saying
a
I'm
lot
surprised
quicker.
he fell down to 60, but I'm more excited about him than I am Clint Frazier at the time. Oswald Peraza, way more excited about him than I was Jorge Mateo. And then obviously Judge, you can't really compare how we felt about him at the time because like nobody really expected that. But
I don't know, but I hate to interrupt you, but I think it's
go
like
for it.
really impossible to do this just because it's like back at the time, I was super hype on Jorge Mateo. Back at the time,
See,
bro, I was looking at
I
Gleyber
wasn't.
Torres, and I was looking at a guy who was going to be one of the middle infield greats of the future. We were looking at a guy that was easily going to bat over 300 every year, 25 home runs, and that's what I expected from Gleyber Torres. So it's like, and also Clint Frazier. I mean, everything that we heard about Clint Frazier. He was a big reason why the Yankees didn't pursue Bryce Harper. He was supposed to be the outfielder of the future, legendary bat speed. So it's like I can't say that I'm more hype on these guys than I was like the past top prospects that the Yankees had. But I'm still confident, but I think I'm a little bit more cautious this time around, and I'm not getting my hopes up too much.
I hear you. I mean, I think that's part of it too, because we now know what we know about Clint Frazier. We know what we know about Mateo, who's turned into like a nice player and all.
Sure.
But you compare Volpe and Glaber, right? I think what do we always hear about Glaber coming up is that Art, he doesn't exactly excel in everything, but overall, he's just a really good baseball player. Volpe, I mean, that's not exactly the case. He's considered to be very highly regarded, like in the power department, as we know. Like his athleticism, baseball IQ is considered to be higher than Glaber's ever was, which has kind of been a problem so far in Glaber's career. So, like, I just look at like what we're hearing about Volpe and the way, say, Glaber has turned out, and that's what I'm doing with these prospects, which definitely isn't fair. Like, I look at what we hear about Jason and how Clint has turned out. Like, there's reason for me to have more hope about these guys than in the past. And
No,
even
it's
if
fair.
not, take this whole conversation away. Having 6 prospects in the top 100 is pretty damn awesome, especially when one of them is number 7 in Anthony
Well,
Volpe. And the
5.
fact 5,
Yeah.
my bad, 5 is still awesome. But the fact that they're all budding could be this year, like make a big league impact this year. We're in a good spot, bro, which is nice to say because,
No,
as
it's
you
cool.
said, a couple years ago, like we went from being the top to it did kind of fade away quickly because then everybody gets called up or traded. So we're in a good spot. I'm very content with the Yankee farm
Yeah,
system.
I mean, and last thing I will say about the Yankees farm system is in the first core that you mentioned, a lot of those guys were traded away for major league talent. A few, I mean, I'm looking at this top 5 list, and I'm only seeing a couple that I think have long-term futures with the Yankees, and the others are
Who's on the
pretty
Yankees
expendable.
roster a year from now? Go.
Out of these 5,
I think there's 2.
I think that wow, yeah, I think that Volpe
Yeah.
and Dominguez are probably the only 2 locks, and
I
then I
think
think Wells is on the brink of being a lock,
I
but
think Volpe and Wells are the only ones still standing a year from now.
really,
Yeah, I think Peraza and Dominguez will headline some sort of a trade. And then Pereira's kind of like that supplemental piece who like won't exactly be the number one part of it, but like to kind of get the deal done. Hopefully for Brian Reynolds, who knows? But Wells, I think they're really excited about Wells. I know I am. I mean, it's nuts with these prospects, dude, because like you'll hear they're highly regarded and you'll be fond of them yourself. But when you actually look at some of the stats and see they're doing well, like it almost like it makes it so much more real. It's like these dudes are not that far away. Like Wells, you could argue, could make a legitimate big league impact this year. Has conquered all the way up to AA, was a first round draft pick out of college. So that makes his journey already quicker. I don't know. Like Yankees are in a good spot right now. They
yeah, it's
really are
cool.
because they have these high prospects that have been highly regarded that are actually performing, which is awesome. You don't always see that from prospects.